Camp Randall Stadium today.
Jonathan Taylor, 72 yards. Fumble the football. It's picked off. And the fumbleitis continuing early today. Cone's going to sneak through. Touchdown, Wisconsin. And the Badgers putting a beat down on Michigan.
Oh, that was bad. It may be panic time in Ann Arbor after the Wolverines take a beating in Wisconsin. Joining us now to analyze tough times at Michigan, our good friend. Paul, let me ask you this. We start with Jim Harbaugh's squad. They're now ranked 20th. Their next 5 games all against ranked opponents. How do you see this playing out with Harbaugh?
Terribly. I sat here last week and had faith in Jim Harbaugh. I'm a man of faith, Stephen A. This was misguided. I don't see what he is going to be able to do to beat a really good team. He might beat some of the average teams on his schedule, but how is he going to beat a Notre Dame, win at a Penn State or Ohio State? I've seen no imagination. I've seen regression in this program. I've seen stubbornness. And quite frankly, I think Jim Harbaugh as an elite coach is a total fraud and charade. He no longer has that ability, and I'm going to quit trying to prop him up just because he was once good. He no longer is elite. He's better than a lot of people, but he's not in the same league as Dabo Swinney and obviously Nick Saban and some of the better coaches in the league.
I watched Jonathan Taylor rush for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Yeah. Why is Michigan ranked in the top 20?
I was surprised when I heard that because I don't really go beyond the top 10 or 12 because none of those teams make a whole lot of difference in the college football playoff anyway. And I just think it's the Harbaugh brand. And I had an argument with somebody the other day. Well, it's still a really good brand. No, it's not. How can it be a good brand when you lose your last 3 games against ranked opponents by 23, 26, and 21?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just they lost on the road to Wisconsin. That was expected, actually. It's the way they lost, too. What happened, Paul, do you think? Because when last seen in the NFL, he was at the helm of a team that was a powerhouse on both sides of the ball. And you would think, given his kind of energy, that would actually maybe play better in college where by the time it turns into white noise, they're gone already, right? Like that level of... What happened? He forgot how to coach quarterbacks? I mean, he can't get the offense going, the defensive look. What happened to him?
No, I think you see it in every sport, whether it's the NFL, the NBA. You have to evolve, and I don't think Jim Harbaugh, Max, has evolved. I think he's just stubborn old Jim Harbaugh that, hey, I did it this way at Stanford, I did it at San Diego State, I did it at San Francisco, and I'm going to do it here. And it just doesn't work because you have smarter, younger coaches around who just don't really subscribe to that theory. I mean, Nick Saban is 68 years old. He'll be 68 in October, but he continues to try new things. Jim Harbaugh isn't trying any new things. He took an offensive coach from Nick Saban, who was a receiver coach, who wasn't going to be the offensive coordinator, and Jim Harbaugh thought he had pulled one on Nick Saban. Well, you saw the offense.
Because they're getting talent. They're getting talent in Michigan.
You would think so, but you have to develop talent. I mean, these are young kids who need some guidance, and I don't think Jim Harbaugh has it anymore.
I don't want to sit up there and pile on Jim Harbaugh because I don't think he's the only problem in college football. He is everything that you say he is right now. He does look the part. It's not impressive. I don't even think the Michigan Wolverines deserve to be in the top 20, to be quite honest with you. That's how awful they looked on Saturday. But I want to get to Jimbo Fisher.
Okay.
I want to get to Jimbo Fisher because – you know what? I had the pleasure of going to Texas A&M and giving a speech there, not to mention doing First Take from there. While I was there, Kevin Sumlin was the head coach at the time, gave me a tour. The facilities are immaculate. They're sensational. There's no question about this. Jimbo Fisher leaves Florida State, and one would argue he left them in shambles. That's a different subject. But they're 2-2. They've lost to Clemson, no shame there. They just lost to Auburn. They got Alabama, Max, coming up on their schedule in a few weeks, October 12th to be exact. You got Georgia and LSU at the end of the season.
3-4.
It is entirely plausible that Texas A&M will end up with 5 losses. Jimbo Fisher did get a 10 years, $75 million? I mean,
wow.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on there?
Stephen, I'm not ever one to defend coaches who make that kind of money. I think it's a little bit early to pull the ripcord on him. I think that I was out there
I'm
weekend.
not. I like him, but I just want to know what's going on.
That was an embarrassing performance against a good team. I mean, Gus Malzahn was about to get fired last year, so this isn't a program like Georgia or Alabama. And they looked, they were inept. He was out-coached during the game. And I was arguing weeks ago that Jimbo Fisher was one of the best coaches in the country. You can't make that claim. But I don't see him winning any of these games you mentioned. And if he ends up 7-5, you better believe there's going to be heat on him next year. And I think that's fair. It's also fair to look very closely at what happened at Florida State. You can't just say, let's take Jameis Winston out of the equation because they went to the college football. They won the BCS, and then they went to the playoff next year undefeated and lost. But if you do take him out of the equation, there's nothing special at Florida State. And he took over for Bobby Bowden. Program got a little better, and then Jameis came, and they got great, and then they crashed and burned as he was leaving. I mean, they had to buy. They lost a game because of a hurricane. They had to buy it back at the end of the season his last year just to get to a bowl game.
I know you got to go, but I want to say this real quick. Kevin Sumlin, although he did it 4 times, 5 losses. That's why he got fired. Jimbo Fisher's going to have about 5
Kevin
losses.
Sumlin did one thing. He went to Alabama and beat the #1 team in the country.
Yes, he did.
Talk to me about Notre Dame. They took a major step back this weekend. What chance do you give them of making it to the playoff?
You think they went backward?
Yeah.
I was impressed, but that doesn't matter. Notre Dame got in last year undefeated. A lot of people debated it. They probably deserve to be in, but I don't see them getting in this year because the #2 SEC team, Molly, and don't laugh, the #3 SEC team, I think, could trump Notre Dame. I mean, there's could trump. I said Trump. I got confused. He's around the corner. Could trump Notre Dame. There is a scenario that you could have 2 undefeated teams playing for the SEC title. The loser could be eligible, and you'd have a 1-loss team which lost to one of the others. So I think all of those 3 would. And you know, if Clemson's out of the way, and you would expect maybe Ohio State or Wisconsin or somebody from the Big Ten, Oklahoma's still out there. I don't see any room for that.
I know what you mean, but
because the loss
you get a loss, and but the fact is, you go on the road, you lose to Paul Feinbaum's 3rd best team in the nation, and you did it by a score. Okay. And early in the game, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going to happen here? Doesn't that say good things about Notre Dame?
Those are great arguments. Here's the problem for Notre Dame. On Championship Saturday, when we're watching all these conference championship games, Notre Dame will be home again while Alabama's playing Georgia or LSU. You have all these other games, mostly competitive. They have no room at the end that day, and I think that they will get edged out.
Let me interject. You know, to answer your question, Max, you know what also hurts Notre Dame? They got Michigan on their schedule. When you beat Michigan,
no big deal.
You're right.
You beat USC before that. If that happens,
no, it's gonna help.
Who cares? And then you look at their schedule: Virginia Tech, Duke, Navy, Boston College, and Stanford.
That's another.
So
game.
the level
Stanford's terrible.
So the level of competition, it's almost like Notre Dame is being punished. Because while Georgia is incredibly formidable, the rest of their schedule is significantly inferior, and that's going to count against them.
I am not going to cry any tears for them because they're in the ACC and everything but football.
Except football.
Hey, if you want to get in the playoff, get in the ACC and football, and then take on.
Allow me to get on you a little bit, though. You are a bit rough on Brian Kelly, and I'm just saying the man was 12. I know they got. I must say this. I like Brian. Listen. Here's the deal.
Matt LaFleur on the line, Stephen A.
They were 10-3 2 years ago.
This is new.
They were 12-1 last year. Their only loss
Go back another year or two.
Well, I understand that, but the last 2 years, 10-3, 12-1, and they almost beat Georgia this past weekend. I'm just saying, far be it for me to say that, but I think Brian Kelly. I think he's not doing a bad job.
He's going to be the commencement speaker at Notre Dame this year.
I want to say that.
No, but you get burnt.
I think I'd be better than most of the
when
ones.
Notre Dame has a license. When Notre Dame has a license to print money and doesn't want to share it, and schedules a soft schedule, and that's what happens.
It drives me crazy that they can get in without having to do what everyone else has to do.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Special privilege.
They should put themselves in a conference.
An NFL question. Huge Giants fans right here. What do you think of Daniel Jones now? If we were going Daniel Jones versus Kyler Murray, who do you think is going to be the better
I was
pro?
out buying a jersey yesterday.
Yeah?
I almost came in here. And,
Danny dimes.
I love it.
You think Kyler Murray or him will end up being the better pro?
I think as long as Kyler Murray has Cliff Kingsbury as a coach, he will struggle. Because I realize Cliff Kingsbury got the job, but I still can't believe this guy got a head coaching job in the NFL after looking at his resume in college. That wasn't the question you asked me.
No,
I think Kyler has a lot of upside, but I'm buying Daniel Jones after one game.
Oh, we got a quarterback.
We got a quarterback. All right, let me throw out a couple other quarterback names for you.
And talk about we got a quarterback.
Right.
After one game
we have a quarterback
against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
After everything I said. After everything I said. That's right.
Optimist.
You know it when you see it.
You know we got a quarterback. All right, let's go through a couple other quarterbacks. I'm going to throw them out. You tell me average, above average, or below average pros. Let's start with Heisman frontrunner Jalen Hurts.
I think average. I think he's made tremendous improvements this year, and I always hate to go too hard on someone because I'm reminded of Dak Prescott 3 or 4 years ago, who nobody liked. But I think he has some upward mobility, but I'm not putting him in an elite category yet.
Okay.
Are you?
But an average pro at the quarterback position, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
if you're a middle of the pack quarterback in the NFL, you're pretty good.
Oh no, it's fine. He can play in the league.
What about Joe Burrow, LSU?
Yeah, he's on fire right now.
Yeah.
I think he can develop into a good, serviceable pro quarterback. I don't think he's going to go early, but a couple of months ago, he wasn't even regarded among the top 4 or 5 in the SEC, and now he's a Heisman finalist.
Yeah. And lastly, Justin Fields, Ohio State.
I think he's got the ceiling. Stephen and I've had a couple of conversations about it. He's so fast. He's as fast as any quarterback I've seen. I think he's got a lot of ability. Just the idea that he was in the running last year at Georgia. Eason was the year before. The outside possibility of three Georgia quarterbacks in the Final Four if Washington can get through. But I'm putting a lot of faith in him. He's fantastic
Terrific so far.
Yeah, no question. Paul, thanks for hanging with us.
Thank you.
We'll do it again next week. We'll be watching you on Saturday, of course, as always.
Every weekend.
Still much more to come on First Take, including blame on Carson Wentz. Should Cam want the Panthers to win without him and Jason Garrett's future in Big D? Do not go anywhere.